So what else is magnificent in the Mass, huh? Well, it's important to understand that the Mass is not a retelling of something. It's the representation of something, meaning it's actually becoming present now in a sacramental way. Just to be clear, Jesus was crucified once and for all, okay? We don't crucify Jesus over and over again at the Mass. He's died, risen, he's triumphant in heaven and glory. But what happens when you and I come to Mass is the event of the Last Supper, of Calvary, of his burial, of his resurrection, of his ascension, all of that you and I become a contemporary of. So for me, like a vernacular image of that for you has always been to me something like Saving Private Ryan. So this very dramatic movie of an old man, is how the movie starts, who goes to the cemetery at Normandy because he had been involved in D-Day. And so he was there that day on June 6th. He goes back with his family on some day in the present time to visit Normandy, and he stands at a certain point, he's kind of shuffling through the cemetery, and he gets to one grave in particular, and he stops. And the headstone is a cross. And he stops and he looks at it and he reads a name, and the name is Captain Miller. Well, Captain Miller was the man who rescued him and saved his life. And the movie goes into a flashback. So for the next 2.5 hours, you're in a flashback back in World War II in France and the surrounding areas. And it starts with him in this time, and then the camera kind of zooms into his eye, and then it pulls back out, and boom, it's 1944. And you go through all the travails of this man being rescued. And the ending of the flashback is this man, Captain Miller, dying. And he grabs Private Ryan as he's dying. And he whispers in his ear and he says, "Earn this." And Ryan says, "What?" And he says, "Earn it." And then he dies. And then the camera kind of zooms into his eye again, and it pulls back out, and it's present time. And here he is standing at the grave. And he's looking at a cross. And he says, "To the cross." Something along the lines of, "I've brought my family here with me today. And I wasn't sure how I would feel coming back here. I think about what you said to me that day, every day of my life. I hope that I have done what you men did for me, or measured up to what you men did for me." In other words, here's a man talking to a cross, acknowledging, I am alive because you died for me. That's a great image to me for what happens in the Mass, except what happens in the Mass is more magnificent than that, because that was a flashback. What happens in the Mass is not a flashback. You and I are there. Even though we can't see it, we're there. The Lord gathers us around the table in the upper room. We are present at the foot of the cross, where the wounds of Christ are still fresh. We're there at the empty tomb, and the joy of the apostles and Mary Magdalene and all those who went to the tomb who saw it empty. We're there on the day of the Ascension, and we're up in heaven. All of that is a contemporary experience for you and me, which is why the Mass ends with, in Latin it used to be ite missa est, she is sent. In other words, you've just seen the only thing that really matters. God so cares for you that he has become man for you, taken on our greatest foe, death, and crushed it. Taken on sin and crushed it. Taken on hell and crushed it. That's the only thing that gives you and me any hope whatsoever. Otherwise, we're just rearranging deck chairs in the Titanic as the ship goes down. But the ship is not going down. God loves the world. That's why he made it. That's why he became one of us. That's why he's redeemed it. But the world that you and I are living in doesn't know that. And so you and I, who are here at this event, which I have to first of all realize is an event, which is happening now, Now I'm here, the Lord is speaking to me if I will listen and know that he wants to speak to me. And then he drives me out or sends me out into the world in which I live, my family, my coworkers, my friends, the people I shop with, who I play golf with, whatever, and tell them about him and what he's done for me. You're not worthy of this. That's why it's a gift, right? All is gift. It's all grace. Who could be worthy of this? I mean, who in their right mind would stand up and say, I think I was worth God becoming man and getting slaughtered for me? Not a chance. But it's a gift, you know? So what do you do with the gift? You receive it. But then you have to do something with it, right? You know, if Private Ryan, at 85 years old, had gone back to Captain Miller's grave and looked at the cross and went, ha, better you than me, we would have all gone, I don't think that's the right reaction to a man who died so that you could survive the war and get married and have a child and grandchildren and go on to live a productive life. Everybody would recognize immediately that's not a very human response. But I'm afraid we do that often to the cross. Not the cross of Captain Miller, the cross of Jesus Christ. We just go, yeah, thanks, you know, and we're back on our way. There's a great statue in the Holy Land of St. Peter. So when Peter is first called by the Lord, this experience of not being worthy is very tangible to Peter. So Peter's out fishing and they catch nothing, and Jesus goes out with him and they catch this incredible number of fish. And this man whose life is fishing realizes this does not happen. And so he turns and looks at the Lord, and the Lord must have had this, you know, expression on his face like, pretty good, huh? You know, and obviously like he knew what was going to happen. And Peter, aware of the presence that he's in, somehow, whatever he's aware of, he knows this is not a normal experience. And Peter falls to his knees and looks at Peter and looks at Jesus and says, depart from me, Lord. I am a sinful man. Which is our experience of coming into contact with the holy. It's like, whoa, you don't know me. You can't possibly be looking for someone like me. You don't know what I've done. But God knows everything I've done. And so the statue, which is in Galilee, is of Peter on his knees with a shepherd's staff in his hand, and he's just falling backwards as if to say, I can't do this. And Jesus is standing over Peter, and he has his hand over his head, and all the energy is going forward as if to say, yes, you can. But it has anything to do with you. It has everything to do with me. I know for me, for years, especially when I was in the seminary, I kept thinking, there's no way I can do this. And how could it be that I, who have done all that I have done in my life, which is pretty vile, could be asked to do this? And finally, one day I remember praying in the chapel, and I could just hear the Lord say, if I call you son, then who are you to tell me that you're not worthy of that? Of course you're not worthy of it. That's why it's a gift. You have to receive it. So stop protesting and just receive it. And so the Lord to all the rest of us, this is my gift to you. I give you your identity. You are my beloved son or daughter, not because of what you have or haven't done, just because I've made you. Now go live accordingly.